Today is Friday, the 2nd of September. Second Friday I've had in this country. I'm currently at Lachman Divadi. Tomorrow we're heading back into London. We spent a week here at this beautiful loch. Let's give you a look at it behind me. Absolutely stunning place. To talk to you a bit about my holiday. I landed here last week Wednesday after a reasonably uneventful, although long flight. I then went through to London, took the underground, and I went through to the National Art Museum. I spent a few hours there enjoying the paintings. Some absolutely amazing paintings. These beautiful masterpieces are over 2 meters tall, and to realize that some of them are over 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 years old. Thursday I went to the National History Museum. It was something I've been looking forward to ever since I saw the DVD of the BBC series, The Museum of Life, which is basically set on the Natural History Museum. What I did not take into consideration was there was a very last week of the school holidays. The queue outside the museum must have been well over 1,000 people. They had a special that if you bought a ticket to the Butterfly Expo, you got to go to the front of the line. I took that offer. The butterfly show was quite nice, free flying butterflies, and then I got to go into the museum. I'm at the Natural History Museum. You can see lots of beautiful animals stuffed and mounted, like this elephant behind me on my left-hand shoulder. So a lot of people will ask, why would you want to stuff a beautiful animal? Why kill it? There's some advantages to this, and when you start studying them over years, for example, 100 years from now, you might ask the question, what were elephants like in the past? If we didn't have these specimens, we wouldn't know. This ability to have a history of species from before is very handy. For example, scientists can go back just 50 years to see what the animals were like in their size and stature from today, and see how global warming might have actually affected the growth and change of these species. After a few hours, I decided to wander around London. I went past Big Ben, I went to St James's Park, and I somehow ended up passing Buckingham Palace. It's kind of drab from the outside. I'm sure it's beautiful inside. I'm not paying money to go and have a look at a bunch of old rooms. After that I met up with Mandy and the rest of the family outside Hamley's, supposedly the biggest toy store in the world. Well, certainly 6 floors, but each floor is very small. After I met up with them, we all headed off together to go and watch Sister Act. This is where Whoopi Goldberg played the part of Mother Superior. The show was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots of music, lots of singing, some very good versions of songs. The only real distraction from the show was that I expected to see some of the songs from the original movie, and they had nothing of the original music. It was all new music. Friday was the turn for the Tower of London. Tower of London's a castle. It's quite a biggish castle. It's got lots of bits and pieces, a few buildings here, a few buildings there, and a lot of history. The oldest bits of the castle, or shall I say bits of the foundation, dates all the way back to the Roman occupation back in 400 AD. There's some very interesting tours there. You've got the audio tour, which is like a tape recording telling you all about the place. And you can go on the yeoman tour where they give you interesting anecdotes of the stories.
The Queen's gone! March!
It's been about 3 hours there. Got tired of it and eventually headed back. On Friday, Stephen and his parents headed off to Loch Londonderry. On Saturday, Mandy and I followed up catching the train. We had to catch the normal train into London, a couple of tubes until we got to King's Cross. From King's Cross we caught a 6-hour train trip all the way up to Glen Eagles, and then Stephen picked us up from Glen Eagles and we went through to Loch Londonderry. Sunday we hung around doing nothing much, just enjoying the loch. Monday we went into the nearest town, Crieff. Now Crieff is a typical small Scottish town, but it has a very important history to the Scottish people. Back in the early times, from 1000 up to 17,000, it was one of the main crossing points. What they did was they often drove cattle from the highlands down to the lowlands, and Crieff was the point where they very often stopped. A lot of the drovers, the drivers of the cattle, would sell their cattle in Crieff and then head back up to the highlands. Others would carry on down into the lowlands. I'm here outside Drummond's Castle. Going to have a look at the formal gardens. Apparently they've been around for 300 years or so. The castle's closed off to visitors, but the gardens are open. On Tuesday, we head up towards a couple of other towns to have a look at some of the local attractions. It's very clear that you can see that Crieff is not part of the Highlands, but within 5 k's we started spotting heather and a few hills. 2 towns we went to, one was to pick up some heather gems, and the second one was to go look at apparently the best little bookstore in Scotland. Wednesday was another day where we just stayed at home and vegged, enjoyed the scenery, enjoyed the beautiful lake, and did nothing. Thursday we chose to actually go through to Edinburgh. It's about an hour and a half's drive from Crieff. We saw Edinburgh Castle, we went into the castle, we walked around, we thoroughly enjoyed it. A little bit about the castle. It's been around forever. Also another one of those things that have been occupied since, I don't know, 3000 BC or something funny like that. First there was this type of settlement, then some locals lived there, and so forth. It started becoming a real castle from about 1000 or 1092, somewhere around about there. The first well-known king that died in it died in 1100 something. So for at least 1000 years it's been occupied or used for royalty for one thing or another. This is the first time I got to see some royal jewels, or as they call the Scottish honours. A crown, a sceptre, a wand, and the stone of destiny, which is really just a big stone that apparently you got to sit on to become king. This stone was stolen by the British and kept in the British royal throne since 1200 AD. It was only since 1992 or thereabouts that the Queen allowed it to return to Scotland, with a proviso that it will return to London for the next coronation. After we had been at the castle, we wandered around what they call the Royal Mile. Saturday we headed the train trip back from Scotland. Today is Sunday, it's about 20 past 10 and I'm at Greenwich Park, heading up towards the Greenwich Observatory. I'm currently standing over the Greenwich Mean Line. I'm standing outside Queen's House at Greenwich Village. Inside is a beautiful gallery. Tomorrow I'm planning to go through to the British Museum. However, I'm considering of including St. Paul's on Monday. After leaving St. Paul's, I headed off to the National British Museum. I was there last time and I went again. The thing that amazes me, well, there's actually a few things that really amaze me about the place. Number one, its size. It's so much bigger than I ever thought a museum would be. The number two is the mummies. I always thought of mummies as people wrapped up in bandages, but there's so many different types and variations that it really was astounding. The other thing I find fascinating about the British Museum are the artifacts. The tombs, the jars, the stone walls. They ripped everything and brought it there. It's horrible to think of what monuments they destroyed, but it's still fascinating to go and have a look into history. The British Museum was the last of the locations I went to. The following morning I got up, I got dressed, back to the airport, and I headed home.